because it's brand new to us. It's the 1881 San Francisco Mint Uncirculated Morgan Silver Dollar. We alluded to this a little bit earlier in the show.
Excuse me, I'm all choked up here. Here's what happened. Because of this palladium, someone has, and they've been sitting on this for, I think since probably the early 70s. Well, the government used to be able to buy bags of silver dollars in the 60s directly from the United States government. 1,000 coins in a bag, all fresh, uncirculated, beautiful, brilliant coins, okay? And I bought a fresh bag of 1881 SMint Morgan silver dollars. So these are gonna run, as I'm looking at this coin, this is gonna run like probably Mint State 63.
Okay.
It is an original bag. As you can see, there's the San Francisco Mint. Look at this coin. Look at the luster. This is 1881. Wow. 1881. San Francisco minted Morgan silver dollar for $99.95, okay? Look at this coin. I mean, it's just truly, utterly, amazingly. And I know it looks like it was made like yesterday. This is an original, just like it came off the mint, 1881 Morgan silver dollar from the San Francisco Mint. There was a bag of 1,000, okay? There was a bag of 1,000. We went through the bag, we opened up the bag, and we took basically the 700 best coins. There's 300 coins that were really what we call baggy, have lots and lots and lots of these bag marks, because you know, they sat in a bag and the coins kind of hit each other for all these years. And some of them had a bunch of big bag marks like on the cheeks, so we pulled those coins out. So we ended up with 700 beautiful, fresh, Mint State 62, Mint State 63, Mint State 64 coins out of this bag as a one-time deal. Like I said, this guy's probably had this bag for, 40 years and sold it to get palladium coins, which I get.
Yeah.
I mean, I sold a bunch of stuff to get palladium coins, okay? But when I have something like this come across my desk and say a bag of 81Ss, fresh bag, original bag of 81Ss, and there used to be lots and lots and lots of these original bags around. But people would buy them, open them up, have them all certified. So when we did this, I said, I'll tell you what, I want to have an original bag. I want to open it up. I want to make these coins available as raw coins to everybody out there. And that's exactly what you're looking at. Look at this spectacular coin that you're going to have here. Now, I look like a nationally advertised catalog, the big catalog that I use, in uncirculated Mint State 60, and these will all be better than Mint State 60. Then Mint State 60, I looked at those coins and they're like $139.95. These coins are all far superior in quality.
Wow.
Far superior in quality. Mint State 63 certified coins in the 81S, I think, are like $179, something like that. Were $99. Now, this is a one-time, so this is an irreplaceable deal because it's only the coins out of this bag, in essence, is ultimately what it came down to. And so we're going to do this this evening. We're going to do it in the primetime show tonight. This could likely be a one-day opportunity, is my guess, to be able to do this. So if you go back and look, what was going on in 1881 in San Francisco? You understand? So it's like 16 years, 16 years after the end of the Civil War, okay? You're basically, the silver in this is basically Gold Rush silver, okay, or Comstock Lode silver that came out of Nevada, okay, because it was made at the San Francisco Mint.
Yes.
So you're not that far removed from the California Gold Rush. You're 20 years past the Gold Rush.
My goodness.
San Francisco, 1881. These coins are original. And see how I turn these coins? And the reason I'm doing that, okay, the reason I'm doing that is you see the luster. See when I turn this coin, see when a coin is struck, when you take a planchet, which is an unstruck coin, and you strike the coin, the pressure from the die kind of flows the metal into the voids of the die to create the design, okay, to create the device of the coin is what we call. And it creates what are called flow lines. These flow lines, as the silver flows into the die, reflect light in a very specific way, and that's called luster. And it is respondent to light, so it looks like the spokes of a wheel. So I'm doing this. See, so as I turn this, see how it looks like the spokes of a wheel that spin around the coin?
Yes.
Okay, that means that it is original luster. You can shine a coin all you want, but that luster will disappear and you won't get that spoke effect. It'll be shiny, but it won't have that luster. And so when I'm doing this, I'm showing experienced coin people that this has got 100% original luster to the coin, just like the day it was struck in San Francisco in 1881. Okay, and you're getting it out of one of those original bags in 1881, and you're getting one of those coins that you're going to see right here as a one-time opportunity. Like I said, I'm trying to remember the last time I was able to get an original bag. It's probably been 5 years or so. They usually sell for huge premiums, which is why we generally don't get them. I'd have to sell this coin for 139 or 149 or 159, you know. But because, once again, of the palladium, the guy had to have cash.
He's willing to make
had
a
to
deal.
have cash, had to make a deal. And so, you know, we were able to wire money. So, okay, I can get my palladiums. And so, but we were able to get these coins on a one-time only basis. Now, once I sell through this quantity of coins, unfortunately, I just can't get these again. You know, I mean, you know, these are going very, very, very quickly is what's happening. And I would expect that to be the case when you have a one-time opportunity in terms of availability, in terms of a brand new fresh bag of coins. As a matter of fact, I want to just take a look at this right here. So here is, this is, like I said, big nationally advertised catalog. 81S. Their mint state 60 is $130. Okay, their mint state 60 is 100. Now, uncirculated starts at 60, and it goes from 60 to 70. There are no 70s.
Oh, I'm sure after 1881.
The 1881S, I do have a mint state 69. It's $110,000.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I have $110,000. I've offered it here at HSN before. I've had it for years in the 81S. But then even mint state 65, you're looking at $600, $700, $800. These coins are going to be 62s, 63s, even some 64s in there. We didn't pre-grade these. I didn't pull any coins out. I did pull coins out, but they were the real baggy coins. Those would have been, I pulled out the $130 coins, okay, and didn't offer you the $130 coins, okay? So what I did is now I'm offering you these other coins here, $99.95. Folks, a really unique opportunity to own an original American classic 1881 San Francisco minted Morgans. Love them.
Okay, I know.